Now I'm going to show you the process that I go through to make my t-shirts. I have a multicolor job. So I want to record it so then you guys have an idea on how I use my machine, my press, to do my screen printing. I first started off the cheap way, which is always not the best way. I started with just these plain old 8.5 by 11 transparency, and I don't have a laser printer, so I went to Office Depot, Office Max, I forgot which one I went, and I had them printed out on laser. It comes out decent. You can do it this way. This is probably the cheapest way to do it. The font that I use has these very intricate gaps in it, and when you do this type of, I guess, format, the only problem is you have to use two so you can get a dark enough area to cover when you burn the image onto the emulsion. And with the fine details that I had here, it didn't quite work out as I wanted to. The drawing itself was really good, but the text that I chose and this technique, it didn't come out as good as I wanted to. So what I decided to do instead was, there's a t-shirt shop here in Colorado Springs that I've been working with, and they were happy enough to make an output for me so that I can use that. It's what they use, it's professionally done, and they do it completely different. They use a, I believe it's called an Apple 8500, and it does postscript printing, so you could do halftones. But if you're doing the basic black and white lettering, you want to just pick a text that's really easy to use. And if you have a drawing that you just want to print on a t-shirt, I mean, this is going to work out great. Don't get me wrong. I wanted to do halftones and have the print look more professional, so I have them print out the image for me on vellum. So this is how it turned out from the local t-shirt shop here. I put the registered marks what I want to put them. They're exactly about 14 inches apart, which is the markers, the little grid that I put on my plan so I can align it properly. This mark right here will actually go right to the 2-inch mark. So this is the color black that I'm going to be working with, and you could really hardly see it, but there's a halftone dots on the skull here. What happens with the halftones, if you do a gradient on laser, you'll see it's nice and even here, but when you burn it into the emulsion, it doesn't have that much of a gradient as much as you want to. What professional screen printers do that I found out, the printer would print it in halftone dots. I mean, you're gonna have problems trying to get these images in the first place. For me, I had Photoshop, Illustrator that I can work with, and I had a local shop here that they can do these outputs for me. If you're trying to do halftones with this technique, which is the transparency and the laser printer, it's really hard to do. But if you're just going basic, one color, no halftones, this is probably the cheapest way to go. The other thing I'm going to try, which I haven't done yet, was to get a laser printer and work with GhostScript. GhostScript is just a free software you can download. I don't know how to use it, so I can't really tell you guys how to use that. But for me, this is the cheapest way that I can get my quality outputs ready for my images to burn on the emulsion. If you ever go to tshirtforums.com, I don't have an account there or a profile name, just because every time I look something up, somebody already posted it up there, so I really don't have a profile in there. But man, that's a lot of good information out there, a lot of good sprinters. I am still a beginner at this, so I'll just try to share as much information as I can, but that's a good place to start off with. So I got two colors here. This is going to be a black, and then I'll have a red that's going to go underneath it. That's going to trace the registration markers, whatever you freaking call it. I don't know. So I can line this up once I put it on the emulsion. So the next thing we're going to do right now, we're going to take, I have a 156 mesh screen. You can use a 110, but the print shop knew I had a 156 mesh screen. He set the angle and the lines per inch on the output here according to the mesh screen that I'm using. Right now I'm going to show you guys how to clean your screen, degrease it, and then get it prepared for emulsion. So we'll do that. Alright, so we're going to degrease the screen. You can see I am outside because I'm going to use a garden hose to spray this. I didn't buy any of those fancy degreasers from the supply shop. I found out that you can actually get just a basic soap degreaser, just like this Ajax here. Mix it half and half with water, just dilute it. Got this $1 bottle. And I got this brush that I'm going to use. So basically we're going to do the back side first. I always have the printed side up because you want to have, while you're preparing it and putting the emulsion, you always want to have the same side that you have up while you're cleaning this upward. Plus you want to do it on a downward motion, so any dirt or grit that you have on this will just come on down. And I'll show you how to power dry this as well. I just spray this like that. Take this, we're going to go sideways first. Then up and down. Turn it to the other side. Spray this side. I'm sure other people have different techniques, but this is how I do mine. And a lot of it really I've learned on the internet. Most of these are not my ideas, so let me spray it off. While I do this, I get to water the roses at the same time. Just like that, I got 2 more to do, and then I'll show you guys how to speed dry this thing. Make sure to keep the same side up. I got to tell you, you gotta make sure there's no dirt on the brush. So when I set it down, I'll put it sideways so there will be no dirt that will catch on from the ground here. And I'll fast forward this stuff. And generally when you're done washing these, you want it to either dry horizontally like this, or you can speed dry with a hair dryer. Which I'm going to do, so I'll show that to you guys after I'm done with this.